Hello, my name is Charlie Redding. If you want to create your dream retirement, you're in the right place. Before I go on to tell you how you can create your dream retirement and the 9 steps that will lead you to do that, I want to say a big thank you. Thank you because I believe that time is our most valuable resource, and you giving up your time to watch this video is a huge privilege for me, and so I hope you get a huge amount of value from it. Now, what makes the dream retirement? Well, ultimately, I suppose let's look at what doesn't make the dream retirement. If you have to live retirement while you're scratching around for your pennies and worried about running out of money, then that won't be your dream retirement. And also, if you're living out a bored and boring existence, then that also won't be your dream retirement. And finally, if you're in your sick bed or you don't have your wits about you, then that also will not be the dream retirement for you. So I want to tell you a little bit about how you can create the dream retirement, looking at these 3 different areas of your life. But if it's okay with you, before I do anything else, I just want to tell you a little bit about me so that you know who's speaking to you. So as I said, my name's Charlie Redding. I'm the author of the book, The Dream Retirement. And that book focuses on these same 3 areas. But it wasn't always like that. I haven't always been interested in the world of retirement and financial planning. So I started out as a farmer's son, but I quickly realised that I was too soft to farm. So I sort of fell into the world of financial services by mistake. And I fell into a very commission-hungry side of the financial services world. And what I realised was, whilst I loved the industry and I loved the opportunity to spend time helping people achieve their dreams in the future, I didn't like all of the product pushing that I saw from our industry. So I decided, having gone through a number of different companies and seen how it shouldn't be done, to set up my own company. So what I did was I set up Efficient Portfolio Wealth Management, and this is our 10th year of being in existence. So it's been a fantastic roller coaster ride. And Efficient Portfolio is a chartered financial planning firm which puts us in the top 7% of all advisory practices in the UK. And we give truly independent financial advice. But what we try and do differently to most of our industry is that we want to focus on financial planning rather than financial advice. Now, what I mean by that is I can find you lots of people that will sell you a pension or sell you an ISA, but much fewer that will create you a proper financial plan that will understand truly what your current situation is, but also what's important to you in the future and what events are likely to happen along the way. Because I believe once we've built a proper financial plan, the advice that we can give you is much better. We can give you better investment advice and better retirement planning advice. And so by building that proper plan, we can deliver far more value to our clients, and that's what we aim to do. And that's how we've kind of gone away from the commission-hungry, product-pushing side of our industry. And what we've always tried to be is the best of the best. We've tried to deliver the best financial planning possible. We go out of our way to find out what's innovative, what's new in the world of financial planning, and deliver that to our clients, because we believe that if we can consistently try and deliver the best financial planning possible, then clients will love what we do. And one of the ways that I've done that is I've gone off and gone on a variety of different courses and learning opportunities. I've done warrior training camps, I've walked on fire, which I might touch on later on. I've done things like Strategic Coach and Brian Tracy, just trying to find different angles as to how we can deliver better financial planning to our clients. So I want to tell you a little story about a client that came to us. Now, he was a partner in a professional services firm, and he was about 65 when he first approached us. Now, because he was a partner in this firm, he was on the understanding that it would be him that decided when he was going to retire. But actually, as it happens, it didn't work out like that. His senior partner decided that he was retiring at 65, whether he liked it or not. And he came to me in a very distressed state, because he was under the impression and was actually convinced that he could not afford to retire. And this was obviously a concern to him. He was 65, he'd been the partner in a business for a long period of time. Suddenly he was being presented with the surprise retirement, or the alternative of trying to go back into to find an employed role at the age of 65. So one of the things that we did with him is we kind of spent a bit of time understanding his situation. And what we realised was that he'd made a number of investment mistakes along the way. These are very common mistakes that we see people making with their pensions and their investments. And in fact, we think there's 8 key investment mistakes that people make which lead to poor returns and not having as much income in retirement as they would have liked. So we identified the investment mistakes that he was making, but also, like many people, what he'd done was collect different pensions from different work along the way, and they were sort of dragging behind him like cans behind a wedding car. And he hadn't really put any effort into looking at how each of these pensions could be improved or whether they could be consolidated. So he had sort of this array of planning. Well, probably planning is not the right word. He had an array of pensions that he'd accumulated, but he had no real plan as to how he was retire because he hadn't expected to retire this quickly. So what we did for him was, the first thing that we did was build him a lifetime cash flow forecast. Now this is an amazing tool that we use for our clients. Now, one of the things that it does is it clearly highlights whether you're likely to run out of money in the future, whether you're on track to run out of money, or whether you're going to have sufficient money. In fact, I suppose it highlights whether you're going to run out of money in retirement or become the richest man in the graveyard, i.e. you haven't spent enough money. So it's a fantastic tool for looking at the different options that you have around retirement. And so we used this tool for this particular client, as we do with most of our clients. And we worked out a strategy where actually he could retire and he could afford to retire without going back to work now. And not only did we do that, we were then able to start being a bit smarter about how we delivered a retirement income for him. Because the problem is that the old style of retirement worked on the premise that you were as likely to climb Kilimanjaro at 95 as you are at 65. Well, we all know that's nonsense. We all know that in those early years of retirement we've got exciting things that we want to be doing, whereas actually in those later years we want to make sure we've got a good income, and if we were to go into care later in life we want to make sure we've got enough money for that, but we're not going to be gallivanting off around the world, well, probably not in our 80s and 90s. So what we were able to do was design a bucket list income for him. His wife wanted a new kitchen, they wanted to do some amazing trips to see different parts of the world, and we worked on this on a basis where we said, well, in these early years we're going to do some amazing things. Then probably it will go to the point where we do those every other year, and then actually gradually over time we're going to reduce that level of income to still a good standard of living, but it doesn't need to be quite so crazy. And by planning properly, we were able to create this client's dream retirement from a financial perspective by using the right tools, by consolidating the pension into a sensible and investment strategy that didn't make those silly investment mistakes, and by understanding what actually it was that he wanted. And so what we started doing was talking to this client, and we talked to a lot of other clients around this stage in their life. And what you realise, and what he started to realise, was, okay, now we've got the money side of things sorted, I'm happy. But I've still got this huge concern of what am I going to do with all of this free time? I wasn't really ready to retire, and because it had been dropped on him in surprise, it was even more extreme for him. And I suppose he just thought, what am I going to do with all this time? What am I going to do without this job that I've loved and enjoyed being part of? And so I suppose that leads us on to the second piece of what creates a happy retirement. And the second piece, I think, is how you spend your time. And we all know of people that have retired and don't really get out, they're not active, and actually they live out a pretty boring life watching too much telly. And as bad as that is for them physically, and we'll come on to that in a minute, actually from a enjoyment and personality perspective, it leaves them feeling really unrewarded. So I want to tell you a little story about Barbara Knickerbocker Beskind. This lady, what an amazing name that is, by the way. This lady lived an incredible life. She wanted to be a designer from the age of 10, but because of society, that wasn't allowed. Her teacher didn't want her to do that and didn't think that was appropriate for a female in that day and age. So she went off and did a variety of other things. She worked in the army, she became an occupational therapist, and gradually what she realised was that inventions and being an inventor was really where her passion lay. And in her late 80s, she saw an advert from a technology company in Silicon Valley. Now, this technology company is a well-renowned technology company. In fact, it designed Apple's first mouse for Steve Jobs. And she found this advert, and she thought, well, I'm in my 80s, I can add an incredibly different perspective to these guys from a designing and creative point of view. So she wrote a letter, and they thought it was a fantastic idea. So now, at the age of 92, this lady is working as a product designer and inventor for the technology company in Silicon Valley. Now, when it comes to this lady spending time on something that I think is really important in retirement, which is your purpose, this, Barbara Knickerbocker Beskind has really nailed it as far as I can see. And if you can find what your purpose is, what your element is, if you want to use Ken Robinson's terms, what your passion is, then retirement will be an amazing experience for you. But if you don't, could be a very boring experience. And so what we want to do with our clients is work with them to help them refine what that purpose is, as well as how they can best manage their time so that they end up feeling fulfilled and rewarded through this later in life. So I think what we started to look at was that actually, whilst time and money was what led to a happy retirement, there was this third element. And I think this third element for me is well-being. Now, it's all very well having all the time in the world and all the money in the world, but if you're too sick and unhealthy to enjoy it, what's the point? So what we want to do is give you the opportunity to create an amazing well-being for yourself. And actually, this is something that you would think comes with retiring and retiring early. But actually, the opposite is the effect, because research by Professor Dr. Joseph Zeimler showed that actually retiring early is shown to reduce our life expectancy. He did some amazing research on blue-collar workers on the continent. And because of a series of redundancy programs that went through the factories there, he was presented with a unique opportunity to research the impact of retiring early. And whilst this is by no means exclusive research, and in fact there's numerous pieces of research that conclude the same thing, what he found was that retiring early actually took time off your life expectancy. So by retiring earlier, you actually died earlier. Now, you would think that would be good for your health, retiring early. You've gone away from the stressful workplace. But actually what's happening is, I suppose, in retirement, every day is a Saturday. And when every day is a Saturday, it's all too easy to not do your exercise, to eat a bit less healthy than you should do, drink a little bit more, and actually the whole thing compounds up. So Dr. Joseph Zeimler found that retiring early reduced our life expectancy. Now, a few years ago, I went on an event called Unleash the Power Within, a very famous event created by a guy called Tony Robbins. And one of the things that I did there, the reason it's so famous is because it involves a fire walk. So I had to walk across burning hot coals to prove to myself that I could achieve anything. And as part of this program, and this was 4 years ago, part of that process, I realized that whilst I wasn't massively unhealthy at that point, what I did realize was that I was probably if I continued to live the way I was going to live, I was probably about 2 stone heavier then than I am now. What would happen 10 years and even 20 years from now is that I would be in a very poor state, and actually I wouldn't be in a situation where I could potentially be fit and active and watch my children grow up and walk my girls down the aisle. And I suppose being healthy now, either lead up to and at retirement, and then once you're in retirement, makes a huge difference later on in life. Because ultimately what that means is that by being fit and active, you're likely to spend less of those later years being pushed around by somebody else. If you don't take your well-being seriously, those later years can be a very horrid experience, and you wouldn't wish that on your enemies, let alone your family and friends. So I did the fire walk, and I really started to think, do you know what, I need to take my health and well-being seriously. And I did that, and as part of that program, there's a whole lot of research that comes out from being healthy. But since then, I've gone off and done numerous courses, I've read numerous books, and I've really tried to understand and create a simple way of improving our health. And it's never too late to do this stuff. There's a lady called Betty Jones, and she was a chip shop owner in Barnsley. And I think she lost 7 stone in the lead up to her 92nd birthday. She realised that she needed to improve her health. So she started going to the gym, she started eating more healthily, and she lost 7 stone in the lead up to her 92nd birthday. Now that shows that it's never too late to really take control of your life. Not only that, she realised the second part of well-being, and that is that it's not just your physical body that you need to look after, it's your mind too. So at 92 years old, she's gone back to university. Now think of that. Imagine going back to university to study something you have a passion for. Not because you need to get the exams, not because you need to pass any tests, but because you actually want to learn about something. Now stimulating the mind like that. Tony Buzan, a world-renowned specialist on the mind and the brain, has shown that the brain does not wither with age. You can continue to expand your brain the older you get, but it is a muscle, and if you don't use it, you will lose it. So it's about exercising your brain in the same way that you exercise any other muscle. And so creating a life with lots of different ways of challenging your mind will lead to a happier retirement. And so what we've done as part of the Dream Retirement Program is we've created 6 steps to a healthy life 2.0, the new version of your life. So we want to help our clients really boost their well-being. And as I said, it's not just about the physical body, it's about the mind too. And it's about one other thing, I think. It's about your relationships. And one way that we talk to our clients about this is it's not about leaving a will, it's about leaving a legacy. I'd like you to imagine if you had a video that you could watch today that was of your great-grandparents telling you what life was like when they were growing up, what their job was like, what their school was like, and what your grandparents and your parents were like when they were growing up. Wouldn't that be an amazing, empowering thing to share with your children today? And what important lessons they'd learned from their family and their life. Wouldn't that be an amazingly powerful thing to be able to share and build up? So leaving a legacy, not a will, and strengthening the relationships around you in retirement is a fundamental part of what creates the dream retirement. So as I said, I believe there are 3 key things to a dream retirement. I think, and if we think about this in it like a big, strong oak tree, the money is the water that feeds the oak tree. But you've also got the time, which is the sunlight, which helps the oak tree grow. And then underlying, you need the well-being, the nutrients that of what keep the oak tree healthy. And so to create that dream retirement, you really need to focus on each of these 3 areas. And our financial services industry tends to focus on the money side of retirement. But I think if you want to create your truly dream retirement, you need to put thought and emphasis on what you do with your time and how you create well-being in that Life 2.0, the new version of your life. So what we've done is we've created a seminar and a webinar called the 9 Steps to a Dream Retirement. And in that webinar and seminar, what we'll do is we will look at how you can best manage your money in the lead up to, so well before retirement, in the lead up to retirement, and also in retirement. How you can make your money work harder for you, how you can create the right income for you in retirement. But what we'll also do is start to look at how you can control your time, how you can create a retirement full of amazing, rewarding activities and full of purpose. And also what we'll do is we'll start to give you the tips and the techniques to improve, to massively improve your well-being in later life. Now that can apply to people at retirement, but as I say, this can be applied to anybody, whether you're as young and fit and healthy as me, or whether you're a bit closer to your life 2.0. Now, as I said, I've pulled the resources here for this workshop from many different people. And I've spent, in the last 10 years, I've spent over £47,000 on my personal education with people like Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, George Kinder, Strategic Coach, Blair Singer, all of those sorts of people. Now, I tell you this £47,000 figure not to impress you, but to impress upon you the importance that I place on learning this sort of stuff, and to also bring it, to explain the resources that I'm bringing in to the education that I want to give you in the 9 Steps to the Dream Retirement. And as I've mentioned, this is not exclusively for those people at retirement. This is about helping younger people and business owners setting up the dream retirement for their future. So what we would normally do is we would normally charge £197 to attend the 9 Steps to the Dream Retirement seminar and webinar. If the seminar or webinar isn't right for you, then we also have the book, The Dream Retirement, which costs £32 and you can order it from this website. So what we would like to do is we would like to give you a total package of the 9 Steps to the Dream Retirement and also a copy of the book. So that's worth £229. But because you're watching this video, I would love to give you both of those for free. So what we will do is you can enroll, having watched this video, on 9 Steps to a Dream Retirement for free. And in addition to that, you can download a digital copy of my book, The Dream Retirement, the full copy, for free. And as one extra bonus, if you would like to bring a friend to the seminar or enroll them into the webinar, then we'd be delighted to welcome them too. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've gained huge amounts of value from it. I would love to see you at the 9 Steps to the Dream Retirement workshop. It's all here, all the details are here on the website, and if you want to enroll, please click the link on this page. Thank you very much.